second key. And we should note that we went really fast through that first key. And we're just in a coaching clinic. We're not trying to make players better. But we went really fast through that key, and now we're jumping on to the next key. And you would never go that fast with your team. You would never be able to teach this skill in an hour, right? You know, all right, here we're forearm passing done in an hour kind of thing. You'd want to spend a little bit more time, invest some time and some feedback, go slow, have some blocked activities early. But we're moving along to the next key, and it's going to be straight and simple. And we said that. What has the best kind of fine motor control? What reacts best to these unexpected events was our hands and our arms. And so that's what we want to use to control force and direction, as opposed to our legs to control force and direction. We want to use our hands and arms as much as possible. And so the other thing that's going to keep it simple, the other thing we want to do is we want this thing to be straight before, during, and after contact. And we would like to, as much as possible, get ourselves in a position where we only have to really do this very much to engage our platform. And so one of the things we're going to mess with Joel here is he has his arms out like this. We're going to see if he can just get them together early together, and so that he doesn't have that extra little non-simple movement. So straight before, during, and after. Simple for us means that I'm just doing that. And so, Obs, come here. Aubrey's got something we need to fix too, so watch Aubrey pass here. I don't know if you notice, right before she passes, a bunch of this wiggly stuff goes on. So here, do your thing. That was better. All right, come on. Oh, there was some wiggly stuff going on. And so she gets this kind of bobbing going on, and that quite often happens. And so we want to get that out of her. And so what she's going to do is put her hands down, and she's going to stand up straight. There you go. And so that happens a lot too. We'll tell players, hold this for me, Scott. Put your hands down, and that'll happen. And so we watch good passers, and they're pretty upright. They're kind of in this athletic position, but their trunk right in here, their torso, stays pretty upright. It doesn't get out here because we don't want this center of mass out here to kind of get beneath our base of support. We want to keep this center of mass underneath our base of support so we can still move and go places. And as soon as that happens, now it gets to be difficult to move. So we can see good players kind of are here ready to go like this, and they're pretty upright. And then when they get their wrists and hands together, their hands just come together down. So stand up, there she is. Nice, and her hands are down. Little bit of tiny stuff going on, and so that's probably 10,000 reps. Aubrey played a lot of volleyball and probably a lot of reps doing this, and so it's hard right now to get that out of her motor program because her motor program says, do this before I contact the volleyball. And so we want to fix that. That isn't so simple, right? And all those little hiccups and bobs really get amplified as the ball starts coming faster as she gets to play at higher and higher levels. You can get away with doing anything, right, when your ball's coming slow and we're young kid volleyball because it's just near and near and near. Ball doesn't go anywhere very fast, and so almost anything works. But as we get to be better and better and better, that's where our mechanics really kind of start to differentiate us between players that have solid ones and players that don't. As the levels get higher, now anything doesn't work. And you want to have great mechanics as you get to be better and better because it gets to be harder and harder to control the ball because it's coming faster. So Aubrey's going to be better at that. Here she is. One more try. Straight and simple. And that was pretty good. Nice work, Obs. Yay. And so one of the things, Joel, come out and show us. Joel's going to get so that it's together early. Yeah, and bring your hands down a little bit. Just bring this down, everything. So instead of being here, be here for me. There you go. Yep. So that was nice. And one of the other things it did by bringing his hands down is Joel likes to do this a little bit too. I don't know if you noticed. I feel a little sheepish telling somebody that started for their team in the Olympic Games how to pass here, but we're going to, you know, he's like Sullivan. We're trying to make him a little bit better. So here he is. His hands are down and a little less engaged with his legs. And so we don't want him controlling the ball here. We just want him as simple as possible. So here he is again. That's it. So if he's to toss me the ball, you can see all I'm doing to control force and direction is that. It's just the simplest thing possible here. There's no extra movement in that right now. So there's a good question, Amber.
You want to do with your arms and you don't want to do any legs?
As much as possible, I'd like to keep my legs out of the equation because these are the things that have good fine motor control. I can control my angle best here. This, if I start to do this, if this is what I use to control force, now when somebody's hitting a tough serve at me, this gets engaged. And it gets to be a little bit harder to control force and direction if this is what I'm using. So,
you want to use your arms to swing?
So I don't mind if my arms swing. Joel's tossing me balls, and I have to give the ball some gas right now, right? I have to actually give it some energy. So I'm okay swinging my arms a little bit. If he were to serve a big jump serve at me, I might even do that, take a little bit away, but I'm probably just going to put an angle out as much as possible. I'm not going to swing my arms. But, you know, I'm just doing what's required of me right now in the most simple way possible. And quite often, the most simple thing that you need to do is just, here's a good angle, boink, the ball bounces off me, I didn't have to swing at all. You were going to say?
Yeah, I use my legs right now because the ball is coming really soft. The ball is going to come like really hard at you. You have no chance to do this. You only use your arm, just like you said.
Yep.
But so on the high school level, you think you should still just do the arms and the legs?
Yes, absolutely. And so anytime we get our guys doing this, no, we don't want to do that. Just,
but I've been hearing a lot of just doing the arms.
yeah, we just want to use our arms as much as possible. So we want to kind of get our legs. We're not saying don't use your legs as part of the passing process, right? We got to move. And then I want to use my arms. So, Jennifer, question.
I'm just afraid when they're young and you teach them to swing, are they going to get a hard pass and still try to swing
Swing too much.
They very well may. Yeah, for sure. And that's just part of learning. And so one of the things I was reading, geez, I can't even remember where, was that force control is not something that you can look at and model very well. And so, you know, I want to see demonstrations, right? This is how I do things, and I want to watch how people do it. But force control is something that I can't look at and see, oh, he hit it this hard. That's how I want to do it. It's something that I have to go through, and my motor program has to figure out eventually. Oh, yeah, that makes it go behind me 100 feet in the air. Can't do that, you know? And so I remember, this is a little embarrassing. My dad didn't teach me volleyball when I was a teenager. I was a football, basketball, baseball kid. And I remember I was probably 14, 15, and we went to Long Beach where he grew up, and they were playing outdoor fours or something. And they said, hey, get your son in. And he's like, all right, you know. And so he got me in, and I remember the first thing I did is I got served, and I went like that, you know, or something to that effect. And I swung my arms, and my hands came apart. And my dad just looked in like it was the worst thing I could do as a child, you know, like I don't care if he's drinking, sleeping with girls, it doesn't matter. But if he passes like this, I've failed as a father, you know. And so, I was young, and got off the court as fast as he could usher me off, you know. And but you know, that was the thing, is I didn't have any. And pretty soon, after playing a little bit, you realize, hey, I can't do that. This is going to control it. And so that's the thing that they figure out over time. And certainly you as a coach can get in there and, hey, did you see when you swung like crazy, it went a million miles high? Maybe just a little bit more control there, and they'll figure it out a little bit.
Good question. Let's say whether it's you're getting a dig or a hard serve, at what point do you want to put the hands together? Is it, do you want to hear it and swing up there, or like meet at the ball?
So also great questions. If you watch film of good players, which we do extensively, you'll see that nobody that's any good does that. They don't meet there. Quite often what they'll do is they'll come together right down in here and then meet up here. And down in here we'll start talking about what we want to look at. But we tell our players we want you to track the ball with your eyes, with your platform, and with your feet. So I want my guys to get their wrists and hands together early, and then I want them starting to see the ball, and I want their platforms to start tracking as they're moving, and their feet are going to move them towards the ball as well. So their eyes, their platform, and their feet, they're tracking the ball with those three things. But no good players ever meet up here, and quite frequently good players don't swoop at the ball either. They'll track this whole time with their platform early, but they'll get them together really early too. And so that was one of the other things that we try to train our guys to do is, be here early. And I know Tom Melton likes with his players to build in all of these keys, wrists and hands together early, straight and simple early, so that you have this good opportunity, you've got everything set up, and now I can go do that. And if you think about, baseball hitters, they're not kind of loose with the bat and then the ball gets pitched and they grab it all together at one time and try and swing. They're set up in this good position early so that they can make a good move at the ball. And so that's basically what we're trying to do, get set up early so now all my mechanics can be smooth from there. But that's a really good question. And I know that there's a club team, TCA, out of Southern California that won the Nationals, the 18 Open, maybe 6-7 years ago. And they had a libero that was pretty good when she got like this, but she had trouble getting to that position. So they said, your job is start like this. And it felt a little goofy for her, hey, I'm just out here like this to start. But she was instantly better, like measurably better, as soon as she just started like that, and she could have everything together. And so the coach said, hey, it's so good for her, I'm going to try it with all my players. And they all, for a while just played like this and ended up passing measurably better because they were here early. And he kind of let them graduate once they, got so that they were pretty good, but they could graduate to this. But that's all the further that they really ever had their hands apart. And that's kind of where we're teaching our guys as well. They're going to come up from here, and that's all the further they get apart. And then they get together early and start tracking. So straight and simple. You're trying to eliminate this movement. You're trying to eliminate this movement as much as possible, trying to keep everything straight and simple.